So we're in chapter 14 this morning. And what we are going to read about is we're giving a couple of pictures of things that will happen towards the end of the tribulation. So if this is the 7 years, then we're looking at things that are happening towards the end. And we're looking at chapter 14 and verse 15 and 16. This is where it describes something that Yeshua has already talked about in Matthew. So would you play verse 15 and 16? So here we have a picture of wheat being harvested with a gigantic knife. Yeshua had said in Matthew that he gave a story, and he was referring to this that would happen at the end. So we're going to look at Matthew for just a minute. And here, Yeshua tells a parable. And I think we've talked about parables before. It's a story that illustrates a great spiritual truth. And in the story Yeshua told, the master of this house, he planted a great field of wheat, but at night his enemy came and sowed seeds of fake wheat. Well, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it sounds like in Karenni. Would you play Matthew chapter 13 and verse 25? I don't know what the word it uses there, but in English there's a certain word that talks about a plant that looks like wheat, but it's not really wheat.
Hay mà đơn bên đường đấy nữa có.
Mà
Rickley. Asana the.
một trên mặt là một.
Asana the asana remote ko asana. Asana regna bo ba ko na bo mato. Yeah, remote you know. Remo. Yeah, there is a word for it.
And so the servants, the man's servants, they say, well, should we pull up the fake wheat? And the master said, no, if you do that, you might hurt the good wheat. And so let's wait until it all grows up.
Meno bana ke de biate hibese pre no go ara ko chesi de hina meno hasana de ite adelo makene pe ite ma thothelo plike de ma remote si de he I should no gon ba mana de hibeche na hina auto ne meno ne masana de memete astera rina boni ne no ha ite ne thothina man ne thothe pa ma de bo da re to na he meno ha una kun ne na ma pe po pe just po te du sha du adu to ke pa ke pa we.
So would you play Matthew 13 and verse 30?
Gonna pe meni da mapu soche.
Du cha ro du lu bi ne ho ro she she ke to ke ho pa ro ma no ke kya re u re mo ne de pa ro ki klo kya e ro I she kya e na mi pa
Oui.
ku la ne de pa ro ku ke ku po e pa ro dia plo e de cha ku pa.
And so the master says that when the harvest time comes, that the good wheat is going to be taken into he's going to gather them up, but the bad wheat, the fake wheat, that's going to be burned.
Mena da hibeche na hena sha ite bo si de hinma atu ba pepe lo ite phadop lo esia ke akene ma da to te hina have de phadop do lo pli pa mana da ite remo ni ne ma to te hina ma be mi ugelo lo pa.
And so Yeshua explains what he is talking about. He says that this is really talking about real believers and fake believers, and they are going to be separated at the end, one of them for judgment.
Mena da bia se jikrina I saw te da po I show te da po mete hina ma asi show na kripusina hina mimete tena ke ba ma da lopli si ite hikufusi na ma da kripusi te hene ma ite chamre phadap lo asi na pa mana da u preji to na te hene ma azana chamre chi ria asi pa I don't know.
So would you play what Yeshua says? That's Matthew 13 and verse 38 and 39.
Agun meni da mapun nishitiona nishida. No, societiona social.
Pre angola sama he ku yit ba ha bu ku la kri da ashur he angola sama ma ku chele ke ku phut he ha ra ma de he angola sama kineri cha ku kla phut he ha presa ka sa the da ya prata ra kri ne de he angola sama kineri cha ku kla ha ke bu ku la ashur ke angola sama she mo ni de du pa ne ha.
Now, if you remember from last week, the three angels came to speak to the people of earth and they had very, very serious warnings.
Ni kenene si tomada ra ke pe sa ite besana ra tene punu ma ha o tene po so pregon ba esi he I beshina ra hikufus de he go mana he beshina ma asana ai show de esi na ra ite esi be tomani nego.
And they said, if you follow the beast, you will end up in hell. Follow God.
Ite matane puna ai show sina kenene si ni da la crada ma te temia te so sa ne ma si chona si otu weda ite si chona da ngara ku pam na mena hada si benida la crada chomre te la tangut gya.
And now we're studying the next few verses where the people of earth had made their choice.
กุนเนนมาเดไปพาคินมาเดบฮิกุพุซีนมาอายุกะโทก็เฮซีเดเอาไปติดกับตินะ
The great harvest time has come, and there is going to be the worst judgment and destruction that has ever been.
มีนาเดบกุนเนคินมาอิเตเซนาเดตเนพุซีนมาเฮเพียบล้อทัวไม่ให้เพียบล้อบัวก็เฮมีนาเซนาเดบันเคมูลใช้เตเนมาอิเตจำเรนมาไม่จีเรียลบเดียฮิคัวปะ
So the true believers and the false believers are going to be separated so that the true believers are protected from this incredible judgment that is coming.
มีนะว่าเดตเนเคปมาเดคริปุซีเททุนคริปุมาตัวเตเฮนมาเอซีโอโคเกคัลลิบก็มีเตเฮนมาเดบอูจีดินเนตเฮนมาอีเตเดจำเรจิเรียเปซีโตก็เฮสนะเดอบิเมตาตุเปเอซิงเดจำเรมาซิเมจิเรียชื่อฮูดมาอุเพรจิตตินินเนตัวเท
At this point, it is completely clear whether people are following the beast or following God.
มีเตมาบ้าเชื่อแค่บ้าแค่มาอีเตเป็นเมทนี่เนี่ยเป็นเมทนมายุ่งยากกับบ้าโอเฮกูฟูดเพลนมาเมลลักคราบเตตะแกเตนี่ดาบเตตะแกเตนะก็
And in the next few verses, it talks about this incredible judgment that is coming at this point.
มีนะเดอเบียงงี้แต่มันสมานหมายชูปีปก็เห็นว่าเอซีเชื่อเคียคินมาเดอจำเรจิเรียเอซีเฮคูนมาจิเรียมีพุติกลับเต
This is going to describe this incredible, an incredible battle that even the world knows about and has heard about.
นี่บ่เป็นแม่พาเคนมาไอชูปีเดอมาอูชาชิลูปาเตเฮก็เฮดอูชาชิลูเตเฮมาซะนะลับลีเฮคูนมาอันนี้โหลแม่เธอลับลีจะปะก็
Many in the world have heard about this great battle, usually called Armageddon.
อันน่ะเปกุลาเกอเตกุลาละงวนมาอูเอลูนาเดออเมริกันก็เฮดบ่อูชาชิลูปาเตหือนมาดัวทุนเนี่ยปะลับลีมานี่โหลับลีปะ
And when unsaved people even, when they mention the worst battle or war that they can think of, they say, wow, it's like Armageddon.
มีเตเนี่ยมาเดออูจีจมแรงเอาตัวเบอูซิงเงก็เดอเบเชนะอีเตลีสลังเอาตัวเบเบก็เฮดเอซิซิงเงนมาวินะเดอูชาชิลูลับลีกูนมาเดออะเดโตอะทูมาเดกีเออีเตazana ushashilu amu mel te chen ma da amagen te ko ai no
This is where the armies of the earth are gathered together near Israel to fight this battle to destroy each other and to destroy Israel.
me te ne ma da amagen ushashilu te khu na ma da ba ite thake close no ha he phu a he order ma do Israel ka sha ko me te ne ma esi temu ma esi shashilulu to pa ne da esi na temu ma esi me pe ke ma do Israel pu si.
But when the armies come together, now comes Yeshu in great power.
Me te da mana da pe bisinge ko he ba close esi thake close he plo shulu shashilo ke ne ma ba na ke ne ma ya se shu da at pra du na ma he klepa.
And Yeshu destroys very quickly all the armies.
No ba de me te be se shkri kle to ke ne ma ami mi salopli ke ti klolopli sin ko he da esi obate be ka.
That's supposed to be Israel.
No sra rada shada pon ma da Israel thake.
Here's Jerusalem.
Ban da pon ma da Jerusalem.
And this is called the Valley of Jezreel.
Do ba sra I you pon ma ba u eluna Jezreel. Jezreel sana de Jezreel si singi kwa. Audama do Israel thake kuni.
There are several names for this area where the battle will take place.
Ma ban da pon ma da ite tan ke pa ma ide esiklo lo please no ha shashu pa shashu ban da po ko mana amui na ma o tumyo no sumyo.
So this is where the great destruction happens, and this is what we'll read about right now.
你的乌沙是鲁班的，akhirnya mah ide au atau do isu thake kuno boga opunya na ide vikuma juso kuko na kunne na ma pepa pepa akhirnya mah arikia beshana da ma usha shulu ba do isu thake isu kuna.
The judgment that happens, God likens it to. Have you ever? Do people in Burma, do they make wine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they do. Okay, I have a grandfather that used to make wine, and one of my family still has the big vat that he used to put the grapes into.
Mm-hmm. 你的biasa syukri nama ai show nama sana ai show sana tidak pun nama ai sa rena huna upe mumi ma sana so sweet toye so toye.
Do the people of Burma, how do they squash the grapes? Do they step on them?
Mình đã si me u toye nó class na da sustainable plan nama si me mung mi te na si kg mung na si ke. To so si. Muna gana the make be go ahead. Yeah, we don't use grapes. We use rice.
Oh, okay. Okay, mega. I see. Okay. Well, this is talking about the use of grapes, and in many countries, the way they'd squash the grapes is they'd clean their feet first, but they would walk through that, and the juice would pour out.
Nigel the sing the esi thakera rosi the Europe kusi bebe go hepatet pote asana esi mi thayema huda mi panama ite speedy wino ma sustainable nema esi deplo lo plida asana boku ku hunbere thumide esi keji mugo keji mu thumide apchada ko sa thara le wine ni sausage ma wine ma da sausage thơ. Yeah, they see it on like TV where this stuff. Mani ne esi me mu ma me aki na khego. Ande kan pato. Uso puli kana ga. Yeah, they see it. They say it's nasty.
Yeah, I know using your feet is that's kind of a problem. But this is the wine press, and when the destruction comes, it's not juice. It's not grape juice that comes out. It is blood.
And yes, another the biasa screen ma he show ma another mete da u me wine me thaya kenama u phadolop li ma shu ma da so se thum ne ide ho mu thau no klon he mana ide biasa screen ma na tana ke ba ma da ba cheria ma close it he na ma shu at he na ma shu sweet ai na.
So first comes the gathering of grapes and putting them into the wine press. That is when the unbelieving armies are gathered together in this area.
Mitesa huna na pe me tapre tapre ngina ma sana esi wine kena ma ko esi be phalo lopli ma so se si ma be de plolu da puku wa sana huna ko kana ba asana angula sha mai te ne ma tana khen ma de heku pu klo si lopli si ma he plo chulu me tha chulu me sha chulu da ma do Israel thaki ku ba ite sra de dume me pino ko he asana he plo chulu ban pu ba.
Would you play, this is Revelation chapter 14. Would you play verse 18 and 19?
You use chapter 14, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Revelation 14, verse 18 and 19.
Kunne na pe me phag se da ba tadel tia ma du shil lu ma phu shitio na shinio.
Thura tane phuda aru de pre. Da uditalu temede abe potrini mi ye de prene. A order telu rekhale no ro ahyate. Ro a ethotia tane phuda at the chara on the pre ro a heluna. Riata net charia yene. Ro keka flokiamo hegu sapti seda a sepicho yene de he. Amila Puna aku aki the ne puna de pre Riata at the Jada, Hekura, a Kekia at the Pitha ye, Turo, Avinu Kiada, Ule Vitita Tida, a do at the Niada, a Fiana, John Maria at the Feplo, in a cool.
And now the next verse talks about the greatest destruction, that the greatest judgment and destruction that the world has ever seen.
ba hangi tamana ma ai chupi da besena da esi ushashulu na ma mu me le batte u asana da adotu asana da ushashulu adotu le ba man kuma ai chupi da mi ma ko.
And remember, the nations want to also destroy Jerusalem, and God is going to protect Jerusalem.
Imana bebe to ma ko ni ko heda thakira ru silo please ma si me pe ke ne nya ite vi ku ma Jerusalem ko heda ro thake ku fu si the no ko mna da bebe to ma ni ma da Jerusalem fu si anye ma juru fu si anye ma chom re me ta tu be ne pe singi.
And so it says that this will happen outside of the city of Jerusalem in this large area.
Mena da u shashi lo do tu lo ko ma athu ma ba ap chashi phnya na da ma jo de vi ku Jerusalem ku ko.
So would you play verse 20?
Nkne pe meni da ma pu ni shi.
Pitha yet a hainer. UEV Efida, De VT, Japichi a Kaleda, Audo V Gloni. Le VT, Japichi a Kale Ino. Sweet he, Tweety Juji, the Zena, Shilithuna, Rimile, Ra Azana, Aonyate.
The carnage is just immense. Here it says the blood will be as deep as a horse's bridle. In other words,
As high as a horse.
well, as high as the bridle. So
Where there's sit the
I would
back.
say, maybe somewhere around here.
Ani da ba pe ni ho de mun ma sana lovely sweet u sa u eden ne ko min da lovely sweet u pap lo lu ne ma au in ne be chana sana da si the dono ko si me ra nge ma si the dono do ma thu lo he da sweet lovely si ma the to ba na ja he ko sana tha o sweet na.
And the area it will extend around about almost 200 miles.
Ani da 200 miles ma ba te ma si nge ko a he dam ni ma esi shashulu no ko sana ka lu shashulu pati he ma na du the po po no.
We're talking about millions of people in these armies.
Cool share ya pa tao ti. Hina me te ma namba ma ta ta lu cho ko he. Asna. Ba te. Wena ka ya te mi da. Ji. Ji Luiso. A du ba te ana. If you were to give like an example how big the mile is.
A mile?
No, like how big the mile is that is mentioned in the Bible. Like a comparison.
Well, it uses a different measurement, but the measurement would be equivalent to almost 200 miles.
200 miles.
Yeah, so it's just a huge area where the carnage is.
Tani tu ba te ma pe singi che to ke. Take yeah.
Trying to think what 200 miles is in New York State. It's like I don't want to be inaccurate when I compare it to New York State because I'm not terribly sure. But it's huge. So now we're in chapter 15, and we'll just kind of get. Is there a question?
Made? Ni mile. Is there like 200 miles if we go to Syracuse from here?
Yeah, I'd say roughly.
Okay. No, Syracuse is like depending on which one you take. CC về cho một cái này mà tốt này cái. It's about 3 hours ride. Drive for 300 miles.
Yeah, about 3 hours. And New York City is a little over, I think, 3 hours. So just kind of a general idea. In chapter 15, and we'll just barely get started with this. In chapter 15, it talks about the last 7 judgments that are coming. See, as you can see, as we speak about them, they're not quite in order. So it gives explanations of 7 judgments, but then we actually look at also some specific things that we just talked about. So these things are they're not all in chronological order.
Những này mà biểu mà ite akena mà da mà du sinh nhà nó có hay bơ nó kena mà azana chomre chiria hikufu cinema sana asuhe ha chiria sosan tu hua có hay mà nó da biểu mà da lisa se kuna mai show to tự biểu da or lơ mà thoa mà nó hư tu hư mà chiria miu asana so hư mà esi khabena hi show mà asana hu tu hư na hư so hư ai show mình nó có asana ite sana si u palisa ke cinema sana da ite ayo lu có hay mà nó ubi.
So, Armageddon is the last thing that happens because Yeshua comes. But now we're going to look at 7 of the last plagues, judgments that will come.
Đỡ nữa phải hiểu na ushashulu Armageddon đỡ ashashulu đỡ ba đỡ uju kuna mà đỡ nó số lơ từ hứa mà đỡ mà trong mà chỉ riêng nó số lơ cái hơi cục phù cái mít này mà bên là cái asisha thua lúa này mà ite biasa shukri akle mi pli ke lo pli sana mi sa lo pli ke ite close no ko hem bana ken ma achira no chalo ke te hua ma ku ne ken ma be me ka seba ashia ke ba me chiria no chalo na so so ta na ku ke no ko he ba thwa the kre me tin